process of changing out engine mount here, because as you guys can see here, get down closer for you guys. See that? That's the head of the mount is broken. So since the head of the mount is broken, and then this one I'm in the process of replacing also, both with OEM engine mounts. That's what I'm doing right now. Alright. Okay, so I have another TL here that I'm working on doing the engine mounts right now. So basically, my issue was that he was complaining about a vibration. As you can see, this mount, the side mount, completely dismantled, but it was an aftermarket one that we had installed, well, that I had installed a while ago, like a couple of months ago, probably like 5-6 months ago, and the aftermarket engine mounts already broken, because there's one here on the side, one in the front, and there's one in the rear. The one in the rear is broken. The one in the transmission, the upper transmission mount that sits under the airbox, that one's good because we just replaced that one. But it was just like, look how high that I have to, because I got a jack right now on the J-pipe, and look how high I have to jack the motor in order for it to line up with the factory engine mount, the bracket. Well, I actually jacked it up if I let the car down and put the old mount back in, because this is what the old one. We got another used one here. We got a used one here for him that I'm gonna throw in. This is a used OEM one in good condition that I'm gonna throw in for him. But these like completely like imploded. Like if you could see this mount, like there's no fluid inside of it. Like it's just horrible. It's really bad. The mount was just basically, it was just the engine sitting on top of the mount, and it just squished it completely in like this, and then I just took it out, and this is what it looked like. Look at this. Oh, look at that. This even flattened. That sits under the bracket here. That lines up under the bracket here. That shit actually flat out also. And look at this one. Still good. This is why you don't get aftermarket mounts. The quality is not the same. Look at this. This is horrible. Look, I've never even seen, I've seen the factory mounts busted and like in really bad shape, but I've never seen them with the actual rubber from the back. I always see the head broken here, where it comes around the top here, but I never see the actual base of the rubber down here actually peel up like that. That's just crazy. That just shows that the quality sucks. And I think it was like, how much? I think it was like $120, $130 for all the engine mounts. It's just not worth it. And then especially if you're not doing the labor yourself, this could be a very expensive job, because a lot of these shops, they will charge you for the labor all over again just because you bought the wrong engine mounts. So make sure y'all do that. Right now I'm in the process of finishing up the front. I already did the side. I just gotta line up the engine, so I want to put the front mount in first so I can line up the motor so everything can line up evenly, and then drop the motor down, finish bolting up the front mount, because what the front mount will do, it'll align the engine correctly the way that it should be aligned in order for everything to line up. But with the aftermarket mounts, it throws off the alignment of the vehicle, because as you can see with the original mount, the OEM one compared to the aftermarket one, you can see that this, where the bolt connects to, where the bolt holds the mount, it's way higher. It sits about like 3 inches higher than the way that this one would sit on this one, so it throws it off. You can actually see his mounts were so bad that it actually wore off on the metal, that sits here. So the mount bracket actually wore down so bad that it actually did a groove inside the bracket, the mount bracket that sits on top. So make sure when you guys have issues and problems, take care of those engine mounts. They're very important. So basically his car was just like sitting on the engine mount. So this bracket sits, let me explain, this bracket sits on top, and that bracket is there in order for this bracket not to come out. So what happens is when the mount breaks, like so, because the engine bolts through here, So when this breaks, and like I said, it goes down, the engine mount just sits on here, and that bracket, this bracket right here, because this bolts to the frame, so this bracket that sits on the top stops that other bracket right here. That stops the engine mount bracket on top here from the engine dropping, from the engine, you know, coming out. That's what this is. It's a fail safe to stop it from coming out when this fails. So basically what his was doing, it was just sitting on top of it, like just literally imploded, and it just went straight down and flattened out the top. So I'm gonna install this mount right now, and then I'm gonna line everything up and then catch back the video for you guys. All right, see, this is the issue. Now that this mount is in, this mount's not lining up to line up the bolts with the holes. I got the one back in, but now this one's not lining up because the engine is leaning over to this side. So now I gotta pry the engine over to get the bolts to line up properly in order to get the mount to hold. This is why you don't use aftermarket engine mounts, because they don't line up properly the way they should. If you're using original ones, then you're gonna have a... So the new mount is in, and the side mount is in, and it brought the motor up higher than it was before. So nice, good to go. But he has an exhaust leak, he's gonna take care of that. That's about it.